status of the case. So, the 2016 Standards Authority bribery scandal of 5.7 million cedis involving Dr. George Krenzel, who is former Director General, and the status, well, it was said that IOCO was investigating the matter. No updates received since 2019. And then there's the, controversial purchase of 4 helicopters in 2016 for Ghana Gas involving $100 million. And also, when it comes to the status, IOCO was said to be investigating the deal, and a cabinet committee issued an investigative report indicting 12 persons in 2019. Then there's procurement breaches at NLA involving over 1 million Ghana cedis, and the Director General, Kofi Osamayao, and his deputy were removed in March 2021. Osamayao was retired while his deputy was dismissed as part of the report on corruption risk assessment of the Ejapa mineral royalty deal. The former special prosecutor, Martin Amedu, indicated that there were ongoing investigations at NLA. It is unclear whether they are related to the Corruption Watch investigations. Then there's the missing excavator scandal. I know that in 2020 February, the CID arrested 6 persons, including the then Central Regional Vice Chairman of the NPP, Ekwe Ewusi, for their role in 500 excavators which were missing after they were seized during the ban on small-scale mining. And the latest head of the matter was in March 2021, when the new Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, asked the committee to do an inventory of the excavators and report to him. In a related development in April 2020, Chief Justice Inini Yeboah directed all court registrars to discontinue the appointment of Ekwe Ewusi as an auctioneer because he did not have a valid license to practice as an auctioneer in Ghana. However, in July 2020, Ewusi, who is the CEO of Coastal Mart, had his license restored after he satisfied the statutory provisions according to a directive by the Chief Justice. Then there's also the announced 27 minutes documentary titled Galamsey Fraud. And you know that in July 2019, the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service cleared Mr. Charles Bisi of the allegations of corruption. However, the then special prosecutor, Martin Amedu, rejected the CID conclusions and indicated that he had not finished his investigations. In an update contained in the report on the corruption risk analysis of the Ejapa mineral royalty deal, former special prosecutor Martin Amedu said an issue of identity which needs resolution has held up the BCU case. Then we get to the Central Medical Stores scandal in which 385 million cedis was lost following an alleged arson in 2015. There's also the procurement malpractice uncovered at Zongo Development Fund, where last year Corruption Watch reported of the discovery of up to 5 million alleged procurement irregularities at the Zongo Development Fund. Subsequently, the internal audit agency followed up with further audits. Not much is known about the outcome. And there's the 200 cases of diversion of premixed fuel, a 2018 case of alleged 40,000 bribery scandal involving Metro Mass Transport MD Bennett Abaji and a leading member of the NPP, Dr. Amwaku Tufo, who's now late. And there's also the MP double salary saga. So we know that in early 2018, MPP Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kenneth Japong, alleged that some MPs, former ministers, and appointees of the NDC government took double salaries. The CID, prepared a docket and forwarded to the Attorney General for advice. However, the Office of Special Prosecutor, under the direction of Martin Amedu, took over the prosecution, but the process was not completed until he resigned last year. Then there's the Airbus saga. We know of the Airbus saga, the missing tricycles saga. These are some of these, corruption-related cases that we are, remembering today, Kojo.
All right, now let's get into the discussion. Our guests, Mrs. Maria Wenla Ada, Programs Manager for Ghana Integrity Initiative, and Mr. Che Kwadwo Yamwa, Convener of Fisheries Alliance. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Perfect.
Good morning, Kojo, and good morning to the team in the studio and your listeners as well.
Excellent. It's good to hear from you both. Let me start with you, Mr. Che Kwadwo Yamwa.
Okay.
So, alleged diversion of premixed fuel. It's been happening since 2017, and this is one you have personal knowledge of because you actually petitioned the Ghana Police CID. Tell us how you became aware of this and what have the police done about your petition so far?
Okay, thank you very much. In August 2017, we had a note that the National Petroleum Authority had suspected that full tankers, this is a full tanker load, full truck load of premixed fuel that are meant to go to fishing communities were not arriving, even though the tankers would be loaded full at the Tema Oil refinery, and then they were meant to go to fishing communities. They never arrived. So from February through to August, on each month, the National Petroleum Authority had written letters to the Fisheries Ministry and then to the National Premier Secretariat indicating that suspected tankers had been diverted. So we followed keenly. We were too amazed and shocked that all the letters written by the National Petroleum Authority to the Premiers Committee and then to the Fisheries Commission were unanswered. So let's say in January, about 12 tankers did not arrive at the location they were supposed to arrive. In January, and then in February, similar instance and others. So we followed the cases, and to September we had realized that the number of tankers that were diverted were 12 from January and had increased to over 80 tankers by September, and that was very alarming. We noticed that no action had been taken or no response or reply had come from the National Premiers Committee or the Ministry of Fisheries to the Petroleum Authority in relation to the letters in the diversion. So we picked the issue up, and then we petitioned the CID as a matter of urgency to investigate the alleged diversion of these tankers. We also petitioned the Parliamentary Select Committee responsible for fisheries and also petitioned the Speaker of Parliament on these relevant issues. When we did, the CID invited us. We went, we gave our statement, we gave the evidence. We also told them that these letters from the National Petroleum Authority were in public domain. So if they had not seen them, we also gave them copies of these letters and asked them to also investigate. They promised us they will investigate and then share with us the outcome of their investigation. We also engaged Parliamentary Select Committee, who also said they were investigating. That means it's the Parliamentary Select Committee for Agric and Cocoa Affairs, and that is the same committee responsible for fisheries. Somewhere in December, we heard that the Joint Committee investigating had realized some 14 companies were involved in the diversion, and then they were banned from further carrying out services in line with the premise fuel distribution. And since then, we were hoping that once these companies were identified, they were not only to be banned, but actually to be prosecuted so that they could bring back the fuel or pay in cost, including any other penalties that the court deemed fit. So we were expecting that these companies that were identified will not only be banned, but will be prosecuted or taken to the legal process. But up to date, we have not had any information to any prosecution or any court issue in relation to the issues that we raised for the over 240 tankers of fuel, premium fuel, that were diverted in that period. For now, we will not call it alleged because the committee established that indeed those over 240 tankers had diverted, and some 14 companies were involved.
Okay, thank you for that update. Now I want to bring in Mary Ada, and for me, I think the fact that there are even this number of cases that appear to have inaction of state institutions is interesting. But what is your general comment on that situation?
Thank you very much, Kojo, and good morning again to your listeners. There is a serious concern when it comes to the inaction of state institutions, particularly mandated to investigate, to prosecute and adjudicate issues of corruption. The Answer would be a yes, that there is a legitimate concern for us to think that there is inaction on the part of the state. When you look at the length of time it takes to sometimes investigate these issues and the dragging of feet that is involved. I would want to give some examples of issues we have in the Ghana Integrity Initiative brought up that need to be attended to. Case in point is our particular interest in the robbing the assemblies that Manasseh was part of. I believe this has been overflowed. If there is an issue that should have been attended to, and from the interest that the then Attorney General showed facilitating the process to get this through the investigative processes, it is interesting to note that as yet we haven't heard anything, and then it becomes very difficult for anybody to say that when it comes to issues of investigations, there's no inertia happening. We also know that most of these state institutions have the best capacity when it comes to the men and women who work there. And so we cannot say we are in any way lacking in capacity to deliver. Perhaps what we can say in that regard is the fact that they are not resourced financially to continue to do their work. But that is not the case, because there are other instances where you have seen that issues have come up and within a twinkle of an eye they have been resolved. What is the magic in those instances? We believe that these years are legitimate. And if you look at the various studies that have come out, they continue to talk about this. Afrobarometer, that is led by CDD, continues to show that citizens believe that when it comes to our justice delivery value chain, and I'm talking about from investigation to adjudication, there is some inertia that happens there. And again, when you look at the UNCAC, that's the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, the various peer reviews that have happened, you would realize that when it comes to issues around our legislation, they praise us for having very robust legislation. But then when it comes to investigation, prosecution, and adjudication processes, they again cite instances that Ghana is not doing well when it comes to this. And so it's not just the matter of the citizens saying there is inertia. It is also documented that there is inertia. Possibly, we have issues because some of these investigative bodies would take their issues and then they produce dockets. So let me take SHRAJ, for instance. SHRAJ is the anti-corruption body in Ghana that is mandated to fight corruption. And they do not have prosecutorial powers. And so they do investigations. And if they have found or indicted anybody, then the docket is submitted to the Attorney General. And we all know that per Article 88, the Attorney General is mandated to lead all prosecutions in Ghana. And so whatever happens at that level then becomes a challenge, because if SHRAJ investigates and finds there are issues, then we believe that at the level where the other actions should take place, it should be seen and visibly manifested that action is taking place. Unfortunately, we do not see that. We also know that from the part of another investigative body, the police, we realize that issues that come up, they investigate. Sometimes it is true, let me admittedly so, that to indict somebody for corruption, you need to be explicitly clear on the issues. The evidence should be there to prosecute. But it is also true that when the instance I mentioned for the robbing the assemblies has been done, the other issues around those instances Winston mentioned earlier, then it becomes difficult to understand and appreciate why those delays continue to occasion and why we continue to have these challenges happening. Then the perception of the citizens that there are hidden hands pulling the strings become very apparent, and these are unfortunate. If we are to make any significant gains in the fight against corruption, we need to attend to this and work on changing the situation.
All right. Now, of course, as a member of Ghana Integrity Initiative, I'm sure you have noted Martin Amidu's latest letter, where he says that the MP's double salary saga was never passed on to him, and that his sources tell him that it was actually used as a point of blackmail to get the minority MPs to sail through the vetting process, some of the president's nominees that they would otherwise have denied. What do you think? Does this kind of affect the confidence Ghanaians may have in the potential of this parliament to check the executive and prevent corruption?
Thank you very much, Kojo. On the submissions of the writer, I believe I read that yesterday, and my opinion of it is that we have gone past this stage. This is a gentleman who has occupied an office that does investigations and comes up with information that supports prosecution. And so for me, until such a time that these allegations are substantiated, we would need to call on the people of Ghana to continue to look at how we can fight corruption by producing evidence. And he is in the best place to submit some of these. If he says some things have happened, I read that he indicates that some NDC contractors have been paid. And that is very revealing that we have in a country where we are supposed to be doing procurement based on open processes, and yet we have tagging of some contractors who are alluded to be NDC contractors. I believe that was somehow a very revealing statement to make. Again, to say that the president is pulling the strings of the MPs because of the double salary allegations or investigations going on. It is, for me, for him to then clearly document the evidence he has to show that this is what is happening. It is worrying when we continue to make these allegations without substantiating them. Then we give the opportunity for the lawmakers and also for the executive to call us to order that we should present evidence. And we believe that in this case, it was a very fine opportunity for him to submit that evidence that this is what I have and I'm putting this down. And we know he has done it in the past. And so if he has any evidence to this effect, he should produce it so that we all speak to the facts and not continue to conjecture that this is why this is happening. We all have had worries that some of the happenings in Parliament of recent, since the current Parliament started, have been worrying for us because we believe that the hanged Parliament would inure to the benefit of the citizenry, and that Parliament in this case would perform their representational mandate for the people of Ghana without fear or favor, and also ensuring that we get value for money for the various contracts and also for everything that happens in that house. And so those worries should not be manifested in allegations. We should have some evidence. We have had issues around people being confirmed and then some underhand dealings going on, which we do not have evidence on. We have had a member of the committee resigning without stating exactly why he is resigning. And so for a person of such caliber, I believe that if there were any issues that he found, he should bring them out and let's speak to the issues from that perspective. Until then, the mandate for the people of Ghana to fight corruption by looking for evidence and reporting same should be attended to. And I believe that is the best way to go.
Right. Well, thanks for that recommendation. Thanks to both of you, Mary Ada and Che Kwadwo Yamwa, for speaking to us on Corruption Watch. Now, let me empower you by reminding you that we all, in our own small way, can help in the fight against corruption. Please reach Corruption Watch on our hotline 055 22 00033 or on WhatsApp, same number. Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Ghana Integrity Initiative, GII, Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, GACC, Africa Center for International Law and Accountability, ASILA, and multimedia groups. And our platforms, Joy FM and Adum FM, bring you Corruption Watch every week. It is sponsored by Danida. Thanks for listening.
What would you do if you have the choice to do anything in life? Build your dream house, take very good care of your family, and plan for a comfortable retirement. Plan a befitting funeral for your loved ones when they depart. How would you live if you knew there was a